I was mid-swing, heaving a bale of hay onto my truck bed, when a piercing scream sliced through the quiet of my ranch. It wasn't the kind of sound you expect out here, where the loudest complaints usually come from a cranky rooster. I spun around to see a woman storming up my gravel driveway, her zebra-striped yoga pants and oversized sunglasses screaming city transplant. Her finger jabbed toward my goats, grazing lazily by the fence as she shrieked, "You need to get those devil creatures off this land right now." My oldest Billy goat, spooked, bolted for the barn. I wiped the sweat from my forehead, squinting at her, trying to place her face. Before I could get a word out, she flung a wad of crumpled papers at my boots. "Consider this your official notice," she declared, chin high like she'd just won a courtroom drama. "I'm suing you for emotional distress. Those goats stared into my bedroom window all night, ruining my sleep." I couldn't help it, I laughed. It just slipped out. "Ma'am," I said, "my goats have never left this property. They couldn't stare at you through anything but your own nightmares." Her eyes narrowed, and she thrust her finger an inch from my nose. "Your imagination's trespassing too, then," she hissed. "You'll hear from my lawyer." With a theatrical spin, she nearly tripped on the gravel, then marched back to her gleaming SUV, parked half in my ditch. I stared at the papers scattered at my feet, expecting some official seal, but all I saw was her name scrawled in bold across the top, Vanessa. That was my first run-in with Vanessa, the self-proclaimed sheriff of land she didn't own. I figured that was the end of it. I tossed her papers onto the passenger seat of my truck and went back to work, chuckling. But that evening, as I fed the goats, I spotted a strange car creeping along my fence line, a phone poking out the window like a spy gadget. Vanessa was filming my goats, like she was building a case for some barnyard conspiracy. I asked my neighbor, Tom, if he knew her. He nearly choked on his coffee, laughing. "Vanessa? She's not even in our zip code. Lives a mile out by the old Carter place. No HOA out here, so she's just yelling at clouds." But the next day, a county deputy rolled up, lights flashing. I nearly dropped my wrench when he stepped out, hands raised. "Easy, bud," he said. "Vanessa called 911. Says you're keeping livestock with malicious intent." I blinked. "Malicious intent?" He shrugged, petting one of my goats. "Looks harmless to me. Maybe tighten that fence." So I walked every inch of it, no holes, no loose boards, no hoof prints in the ditch. Vanessa had nothing. Or so I thought. 2 mornings later, my mailbox held a single envelope, my name written in purple glitter pen. Inside was a letter from Vanessa, typed in a garish font, claiming she'd seen my goats in her yard at 3 a.m., whispering secrets that kept her awake. She demanded $50,000 and a written apology. I called my old college buddy, Nate, now a small-town lawyer. He read the letter over the phone, laughing so hard he could barely breathe. "She's suing you because your goats are psychic," he gasped. "Relax, this'll get tossed faster than a raccoon in a henhouse." But Vanessa wasn't done. That weekend, I woke to find my ranch sign defaced, Goat Cult Central spray painted across it. I had to admit, she had a knack for drama. When I tried to scrub it off, Vanessa parked across the road, filming me like I was a fugitive. "Want a tour?" I shouted. She flipped me off and peeled out, spraying gravel halfway to my barn. That night, under the wide, quiet stars, I sat on my porch, my goats chewing lazily by the fence, and wondered why someone would pick a fight with livestock. If Vanessa wanted a war, she'd chosen the dumbest way to start it. I owned this ranch, every inch, and my goats weren't going anywhere. The next morning, my phone pinged before dawn. Nate sent a link to a Facebook group called Stop the Goat Plague, featuring a photoshopped image of my goats in someone's yard. The caption read, "My lawn at 2 a.m. Look at these monsters." The comments were wild strangers calling me the Goat Whisperer, like it was an insult, demanding I fence my evil animals or leave town. Vanessa's profile boasted titles like Community Safety Crusader and President of the Rural Watch, a group nobody had heard of. I couldn't decide whether to laugh or bang my head on the table. I pulled on my boots and checked my fences again. The goats, munching grass and headbutting over a salt lick, looked as threatening as teddy bears. My fence, 6 feet high and stormproof, hadn't budged. That afternoon, at the feed store, old Mrs. Larson cornered me. "Vanessa called me at 3 a.m., swearing your goats ate her roses." I told her I don't even have roses. She patted my arm. Nobody takes her seriously. But online, people were listening. Vanessa's group grew, with blurry videos of my goats napping labeled breaking evidence. I called Nate, reading him the latest nonsense. Screenshot everything, he said. She wants a fight. We'll be ready. Then a reporter showed up, scribbling by my fence. When I tapped his window, he jumped, dropping his phone. He'd gotten a tip about my goat problem. Vanessa claimed I was running an illegal goat breeding ring. Illegal? I said. What, smuggling cheeks? He didn't laugh. He offered an interview to clear my name. I lined up the goats and let him film, introducing each by name. Daisy, the oldest nanny, got top billing. I explained my ranch, my fences, my permits. The news aired that night, showing me petting Daisy while saying goats don't whisper evil dreams. I hoped it'd shut Vanessa up. It didn't. Her group doubled, and she posted the clip, claiming I'd bribed the media to cover up my goat cult. Nate texted, "Every post is gold for court." One morning, I found flyers with my face next to a cartoon goat with devil horns plastered on the diner door. The waitress had yanked them down, but not before the breakfast crowd saw. I grabbed coffee anyway, spotting Vanessa's SUV idling across the street, her sunglasses glinting as she scribbled in a notebook. I waved. She looked startled, then flipped me off and sped away, tires squealing. Back home, another envelope waited under a rock by my gate. This one looked official, with a fake Community Land Alliance logo, demanding I remove my goats within 30 days for moral pollution. I laughed alone in my driveway, snapped a photo, and sent it to Nate. "Frame it for the trial," he said. The court summons arrived on a Thursday, so thick it barely fit my mailbox. My stomach churned, but Nate was calm. This is what we prepared for. Vanessa had gone all in, tagging the news with selfies captioned, "Fighting for our town's soul." I almost admired her nerve. I spent the day rallying neighbors, who laughed at her claims and signed statements confirming my goats never roamed. That night, a green pickup pulled up. A tall, bearded man stepped out. Vanessa's ex, Carl. He shook my hand, grinning. "Figured you'd want my help before court." Over coffee, he shared stories of Vanessa's lawsuits against him, from spiritual sabotage to financial betrayal over a fishing boat. He had emails of her bragging about ruining me. "Goat cult," he said, and I nearly choked. He promised to testify, eager to see her exposed. The courthouse, squeezed between a post office and an old hardware store, smelled of dust and coffee. Vanessa sat up front, in a floppy hat and a blouse with tiny goats, smirking at me. Her lawyer looked miserable, hunched over messy folders. The judge, a diner regular, seemed weary. Vanessa's lawyer listed her claims: emotional trauma, psychic goats, property loss. It sounded absurd in court's hush. Nate objected when fake photos surfaced, proving they were edited. Vanessa flushed red. Her witnesses flopped. A woman lived miles away behind cattle gates. A man mistook donkey brays for goats. The judge sighed. Nate called Tom, who confirmed my fences were tight and caught Vanessa trespassing. Then Carl took the stand, his emails painting Vanessa as a serial litigant. I spoke last, heart-pounding, laying out the vandalism, fake letters, and flyers. The judge asked Vanessa for more. She ranted about glowing goat eyes and bribed townsfolk, playing a phone recording of wind in her own whispers. The room was silent. Nate whispered, "We've won." After a recess, the judge threw out her suit and greenlit my countersuit. Vanessa's jaw dropped, her hat nearly falling. Outside, Carl promised beers. Tom clapped my back. Nate warned Vanessa might not quit. "Let her try," I said. Back home, the goats blinked at me, oblivious to their victory. The paper ran a story, "Rancher wins bizarre goat suit," praising my goat's roadside trimming. Neighbors brought pies. A kid tied a goat's welcome sign to my fence. Vanessa snapped it in half. I nailed up a bigger one. "Goat Ranch. No HOA. No nonsense." She kept lurking, her SUV idling at night, but I waited her out. Nate filed the countersuit, and soon, my goats became a local draw, kids petting Daisy while parents donated feed. At a goat freedom parade, we rolled past Vanessa's house, her glare burning as Daisy munched hay. On my porch, tea in hand, I knew the best revenge was letting Vanessa's lies crumble under the weight of my goat's quiet, stubborn truth.